this is officially one of the main tourist centers of southwestern Crete, a town. Well, see, the thing is, it's definitely touristic, but is it a town? It's 2,000 people, 2,000 inhabitants, so more of a village really. And we pretty much just saw it all. But of course, it's not about the numbers, it's about what you can do. There are two different beaches on both sides of the town. There is behind me ruins of Venetian fort, and of course the majestic mountains in the background. But also the place gets a really nice vibe at night, so let's see it. And nighttime it is. Well, two things. First of all, it is second part of October. Secondly, it is Wednesday. So actually you're not gonna see too many people in the gardens. Plus it's slightly windy, but I'm pretty sure that both the locals and the tourists coming usually from Northern Europe don't mind the wind. So I guess it's the two first reasons that are the most important ones. So as you can see, many tables are empty, but as you can hear, some people don't care and still play some nice music in the background. Now for some people, of course, that may be a bit of an issue, that well, it looks half empty, but then again, I guess for some people it is more half full, and it's actually a very good moment to come. There's plenty of place to sit down. You're not overcrowded and overrun by all the weird different people. So keep that in mind if you're planning your vacations here, that late October looks like this. Now notice another little interesting thing, that the chairs are not actually facing the tables, they're facing the street, which is a curious cultural issue. But my favorite cultural issue at the moment is actually something behind me right now. Plenty of just random chairs everywhere. What it's all about? I hope to find out very soon. And soon I did. Turns out people simply use them to block parking space. So nothing romantic about it. One huge disappointment. Fortunately, the next day, no more disappointments. We decided to take it easy and have a little walk around the locality of Paleohora. So a bit of sea, a bit of mountains, and of course a very nice picturesque village tavern. Yes, slightly touristic, but then again, we are tourists after all, aren't we? But this is actually not the highlight of our little walk. Time for a little hidden gem. One of the highlights of a place like Crete is that you come to a little random village. Then you find a little random church with a nice little white marble cemetery. And then you enter the place, and what you're gonna see is 14th century Byzantine frescoes. The reason for that is that for 100 years Venice was ruling Crete, and the Orthodox authorities were not accepted by the Venetian Catholic Church. So the reality was like that. Venice controls the coast and the locals are in the interior. So there was also the Orthodox authorities and the artists. Hence you have till the very day in the interior of Crete many such little hidden gems, little churches with exquisite frescoes. I know that today they are not in the best state, but do remember, 600 years old. But life in the end is not only about art, it's also about a bit of beach. So that was that, a nice relaxing day, a bit of everything. But the next day we had to start very early in the morning to go to a very famous and a very supposedly touristic place. As you can see, not only cars on the road. Welcome to one of the official highlights of Crete. Welcome early morning to the Samaria gorge. Windy and cold, 9 degrees only, and of course I'm in short pants, why not? But anyway, welcome to a very touristic place. Now there are reasons why it's so touristic, and the reason is pretty much behind me. If you were wondering if it's spectacular or not, if the gorge is deep or not. I think that leaves no room for doubts. Let's get tickets and let's go down. So we started 1,100 meters above sea level and now going down to the sea level itself. So after several hours we're going to be at the beach again. Now I need to look down all the time because, well, first of all, the cliff is a cliff. So not only, as you saw it at the beginning on the other side, our side is pretty much straight down. So fortunately we can walk here no problem, because the Cretan men and maybe women as well prepared this nice descent, so it's not a problem to walk down. But if it wasn't for the stairs, then we would have to literally go straight down on a rope or something. Anyway, gotta be careful because it's slippery.
Unfortunately, I cannot show you too many of the wonderful vistas because most of them were against the sun, so they didn't work out very well. But what I can definitely show you are people. So there's quite plenty of people with us. First of all, because it's a very popular place, but also several days before we arrived, the weather was bad, and you can still see the damage it has done. So Samaria was simply closed for a number of days. So do keep in mind, you see plenty of people, but it's several days in one day. Anyway, there's plenty of room for everybody. But also, those people, many of them leave that. So, those little pyramids made of rocks. I have no idea what it is, but to me it looks like a kind of a forest mountain version of the famous Locks of Love. Anyway, an idea that somebody had, and it just went a bit too far, I think. So, I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know. I don't care. Anyway, one more time, let me just stress it. Yes, you will see plenty of people today in the video, but there's enough space for everybody, and Samaria is no doubt a place worth visiting.
So, after roughly 1 hour, here we are at the bottom of the gorge, as you can see by those huge boulders behind me. And listen, I could have just left it running for like the whole duration of the walk, because every, 100 meters, and there was a vista that would pretty much knock you off your feet. Not literally, fortunately, because then I wouldn't be able to go down. Ha ha ha. Anyway, now it should be easier in theory, because it should be plain. But then again, if that's the walk that's ahead of us, it may be even more difficult than walking down, but on a well-prepared path. Let's see what's next. I'll let you know.
What came next was actually a much smoother path. So not only well prepared, but also definitely more horizontal than vertical. And yes, much easier to walk, but to be honest, after the first hour of walking straight down, it became slightly boring. Anyway, it's not only about beautiful views and nature, there's some interesting history as well.
Behind me now, little ruins of a village, which is roughly 2/3 of the way down the gorge. And the village, well, it used to be called Samaria, so this is what gave the gorge its name. And well, you've got a little bit of ruins behind me, but look what happens if I turn around for a moment. As you can see, it's full of people. Obviously not the inhabitants of today. The place is today inhabited only by a couple of rangers, from what I've been reading. But it's not only a place where people used to live, of hunting, fishing and olives. It's a place which has a bit of more interesting history, 19th and 20th. Now, if I understood the plaque right, this is a place which wasn't only part of one of the uprisings against the Turks, late 19th century, but this is where the Allied forces were running after they lost the battle for Crete in the north to the south, to get transported to Egypt, to Cairo. Now, as you can see, it's not only a place full of beautiful nature, but also of interesting modern history. But we're going to continue the last 1/3 of the way. As you can see, it's not 9 degrees anymore. There's a little upgrade, so it is nice and warm and sunny. So maybe when I arrive at the end of the gorge, you're going to see me all sun-tanned. Let's see what happens.
And here's a little surprise. I was convinced that's pretty much it, the most interesting part behind us. Well, no, the actual gorge was still in front of us. And as you will see now, dangerous. You have to walk really fast. Obviously, nobody did. So many wonderful views. So our heads were all the time up to view them, but also all the way down, because here it became difficult to walk. But hey, look at this view. I'm really proud of the photo, to be honest. Anyway, my little Lord of the Rings nerdiness started kicking in, so I felt like in the film itself. So for example, now this is Frodo and Sam at the end of the Two Towers entering Mordor through the mountains of shadow. I'm pretty sure here another nerdy group. This place, I imagine, would be loved by geologists.
So this is one of those crazy places where you can have both sides of the canyon in one little frame. And I don't know, I think there's 10 meter, maybe 15 meter difference between the walls. So it's rather crazy. And I have to say, this is not simply a gorge anymore, it's a gorgeous. Anyway, one thing for sure, Samaria Gorge has a great sense of drama. It leaves the best for the last.
That was more true than I imagined. Here, it's only 4 meters wide. And then that's it. Suddenly, you're out of the gorge, just like that.
Well, we're out of the park itself. And now for the most boring part. Turns out that the 13 kilometers officially it takes to walk the part of the gorge that's in the national park. But then there's another part that you have to walk all the way to the sea. How long that takes, no idea. But to be honest, we would love to be at the sea, like right now, for example.
When we did finally arrive, after several hours of walking, we were rather hungry. So all the wonderful things that you see on the table disappeared very quickly. But then, last stretch, ferry back to Paleohora with the last wonderful view of the mountains.
So here we arrive again in Paleohora in the evening, back from a full day of walking and beautiful views, with the wind gushing around as it should at the sea. Now what will we do at the very end? We'll see about that. Most probably we're gonna hit the road, hit the streets of Paleohora to soak in the beautiful ambience, maybe even have a bit of wine. Let's see what happens next. Till then, see you soon.